Yes boys, what is going on guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be invading on a build that likes to use the elements. In fact, you could possibly say that this is an earth, wind and fire build. But to be fair, that's exactly what it is, because we are using the three elements, earth, wind and fire. Let's take a little look at it. To start things off, we've got the golem fists. Look at these big slabs of rock that I'm just going to be punching people in the face with. To add to the wind theme of the build, we've got Storm Stomp, and these fists have got a unique heavy attack. So I like to do the Storm Stomp and then try and combo that into a heavy attack to catch him with the heavy after the Storm Stomp, while they're stunning that animation. Moving on from there, we've got our seal in our left hand, and then we've got the incantation Stone of Garank, Divine Beast Tornado and Giant's Flame take these. So we've got Stone of Garank, Earth, Divine Beast Tornado, Wind, and then obviously the big fireball, Giant's Flame take thee. Ooh, fly away my beauty. That covers the fire aspect of the build. And that is pretty much it guys. Earth, wind and fire baby. Let's take a quick look at the stats. We're level 65 build, we've got 35 vigor, 40 strength, 30 faith. There are talismans. Bish bash bosh. Let's start invading baby. Okay guys, first things first, I just want to apologise for how I said let's start invading baby in that opening segment. What did I sound like? Like what kind of noise came out of my mouth when I said baby? It sounded like some kind of absolute schmeagle. But anyway, let's start taking a look at these invasions. So we've got this duo on this bridge, and this is a really good invasion actually. That first one we had was a little bit quick on the cliff side against that first two. But this one lasts a little bit longer, and this is a really good one that showcases all of the build. So we're using Earth, Wind and Fire, much like the band. Earth, Wind and Fire, it focuses on the elements. Now, I made a video not so long back that I called the Weatherman, and he used all of like the weather, Ashes of War, and weather spells and incantations. But this one solely focuses on the elements, Earth, Wind and Fire. As I've said a few times now, take a shot every time I say Earth, Wind and Fire throughout this video and you'll be very, very drunk by the end of it. But yeah, it's Earth, Wind and Fire boys, Earth, Wind and Fire. It's a very good build this actually, level 65. It does some really good damage for what it is. It's a simple build, but it's very effective. All of the incantations are actually doing some really good damage. I think that's because, you know, the stats just like really kind of suit it. Strength and faith. Yeah, can't go wrong boys, can't go wrong. Now there is a spell on the build that could easily just dominate the playstyle of all the invasions if I let it, and that is Giant's Flame take thee, the big massive fireball that you can throw. Now we all know that by nature is a very strong and hard hitting incantation. This one we're using it now, see, big fireball, but he was already dead. But yeah, that could just dominate every single invasion. You see people just spamming the hell out of that in invasions. For and against, you know, whichever side you're on. If you're an invader using it, it's easily spammable. If you're facing it when there's a party of them and someone's throwing at you constantly, it can be an absolute nightmare. But I try not to use it that much boys, because like I say, I don't want that one incantation just to dominate the build. So I use that sparingly, mix it in around the other incantations and the weapon that we're using, and it just makes for a good playstyle. This was the same invasion of that last guy I just killed. He was just in a different place. It happens sometimes in Seamless, they're kind of like in two different areas, but you can see I'm just trying to bait him into doing the Ash of War, and then I knew he was wide open for backstab here. Easy kill. Couple of quick flashy kills there on these two. I don't know why you get this in Seamless so much. People just kind of spread out all over the place, but it is what it is boys. This was a really good invasion against this duo. This was a nice, well fought invasion. Now you can see, let's speak about the Golem Fists, as you just saw now. We're using Ash of War Storm Stomp, and then we're hitting them with the strong attack. Now if you charge that bad boy up, it does like 2 projectiles. It does like a double projectile, 1 punch, 2 punch. Projectile sent out from both fists. But if you don't charge it, you just do the single projectile. Now when you're in a bit of a pinch, like you've seen me do it in this particular invasion a couple of times, it's good sometimes just to do the non-charged version and get a quick bit of damage off, as you just saw there, just with the 1 punch projectile. And it does some good damage, man. It does some really, really good damage. And we love damage. We absolutely love it. But if you charge it up and you do hit him with both hits of it, it does some even bigger damage. And I'm not even playing into the multiple attacks, boys. If you put some of the talismans on your build, the stuff that buffs consecutive attacks, then you could make it do even more damage. And then maybe even add the talisman that charges attacks, that buffs charged attacks. That would work, wouldn't it? You could put that on. I'm sure that would do some big boy damage. You know what I'm saying, boys? It already works really well, but if you played into it, the Golem Fists all of a sudden are becoming a thing to fear. Now look at this invasion. I spotted a chance then and I pounced on him. And I've got it down to a 1-on-1 after a hard fought 2v1, and then it's just a case of taking out this guy. Slip up here a little bit, missed my dodges, but it's all good because I come back strong and I finish him off. Really good stuff. The one thing about the Golem Fists is that maybe they're a little bit short range, but you could see there with the damage on the double projectile heavy attack, hits really hard. It hits for like, could be like 1,000 damage-ish. I've seen that in my invasions. Hits really, really hard. Look at these 2 Schmeagles on this big lantern, on this big chandelier. Not a lantern, it's a chandelier, but he just got knocked off. He got knocked off and he fell right down to the bottom, and now he's dead. His friend is still on that little chandelier. I send a little Giant's Flame over just to test the waters, but he's hiding around the back, so I think, let's man up, boys. Let's man up, go down. Let's take him on 1 versus 1. The Tornado incantation on this build is really good as well. Now I used it in the last build, the Weatherman build, as part of the weather theme that I was going for, and I really played into it with the Divine Beast Helm and the talisman that buffs storm attacks. So that incantation in the Weatherman build of the last video, big damage again now, big damage on the double strong attack there, really good stuff. But yeah, the storm incantation, Divine Beast Storm, I played into it in the last build. I built into it even. I wore the helmet and the talisman that both buff storm attacks. So it was doing some really, really good damage. But on this build, man, it's still doing good damage, and I'm not even built into it. It's literally just the Flox Canvas talisman. I think I've got that on to buff the damage of the incantations. I'm pretty sure I've got that on. I'd have to go back and check. I can't actually remember off the top of my head. But either way, without building into that particular incantation, it's still doing some really, really good damage. And people seem to struggle avoiding it as well. This is a good invasion against these 2. Now, I've mentioned this before as well. You get a lot of people using the Honest Rivers in Seamless for some reason. You've got the Katana with the Sword Dance Ash of War. You can see him doing it there. It's the Honest Rivers, boys. The famous Honest Rivers. And you get loads of people using it. I'm really surprised how many people I've come across using that particular setup. It works really well, and it's not Rivers of Blood, which is always a bonus, but you could see he just got absolutely smashed again with the double heavy attack on the Golem Fists. They're a little bit short range, as a lot of fist weapons are, but these do feel particularly short when you're chasing someone down. It's not like the claws, you know, sometimes you notice the extra length on the claws, but these have got the girth. I might lack length, but I've got the girth with the Golem Fists. And they're just a really cool little weapon, boys. Really, really cool little weapon, especially mixed with the Storm Stomp. It creates a nice little peculiar play style. A couple of other Ashes of War may fit these fists as well. Maybe Endure, you could endure through attacks to land the heavy attack, that would work. But I'm really happy on this build using Storm Stomp, especially because of the Earth, Wind and Fire theme. Storm Stomp really fits that bill, especially when you mix it with the Divine Beast Tornado on the build. Yeah, really, really good stuff. Another couple of aspects of this build that add to the Earth, Wind and Fire theme, especially the Earth and Fire side of it, is the hefty throwing pots that you've seen me using, boys. I've been using the Fire hefty throwing pot, and then I've been using the Earth hefty throwing pot, the big rock pot, and they've been doing some big damage for me. Really nice to mix those in. Really, really, really cool aspect of the build. Good damage, mixes things up. And the AoE, actually, the AoE explosion on the pots, really, really good, boys. Now this was an interesting invasion, right? Let's watch this one now. So I spawn in and this claw guy's rushing me down. Now look at the blood build up already. He needs to be respected. I realised pretty quickly as well that he's not taking a lot of damage, so he's got his build on point. Whatever he's doing, whether he's just beefed his vigour up, whether he's got defensive talismans, I don't know. But compared to a lot of other people that I've been fighting, keep your eye on the clawman, and you'll see that he's barely taking much damage. So I know I've got to be really careful here. And as well, he's also using Endure, so I've got to be careful of just like standing there fisting away with my fists. You know, I've got to be careful doing too much fisting, boys, because he's just going to endure through and do some big damage and blood build up on me. And not to mention, you know, he's got his friend with a colossal sword in the background, so I've got to be really careful. Now it was around this point in the invasion that I thought, you know, I started thinking that I need to look what the Colossal's got to offer, the Colossal guy. I know the Clawman's going to be hard to deal with, and I just landed my first hit on the Colossal Sword user. And he clearly hasn't got as much health, so he is my main target now. I need to get rid of him, get him out of the picture, and then I can focus on Mr. Claw. As you can see, not much health, 2 jumping attacks, and he's dead. Now, it's time to focus on the big boy, the leader of the group. The one who's got his build on point, the one who's got plenty health. Let's get down to business. Let's have a scrap. You could just see we landed the Divine Tornado on him. Divine Beast Tornado, Divine Beast Storm, whatever it's called. Jump and attack, good damage. We missed him with the heavy there, but the fight goes on. We both heal up. You can see he's just coming right at me. Blood build up, I've got to keep an eye on that. He stuns me out of the pot throw. Going to do some damage with the heavy rock pot, but we managed to land a nice single heavy attack on him there, and then I think I managed to land a double charge attack on him, maybe if I get the storm stomp on him. Oh no, it's a running attack. Yeah, it's a running attack that finishes him off. I thought I caught him in a storm stomp, but my memory deceives me. But still, a great invasion. Really, really good fight. This one was also a really good fight, boys. This was a nice long invasion against this trio, and I like it because they're all using pretty standard setups. There's nothing too crazy going on here. He's using the Scarlet Rock Breath, but he doesn't spam it. I think that's the only time I actually see it during this invasion. And besides that, you can see they're just samurai sword users. They've got the katanas. He's got 1 rusty anchor. We've got 2 of them who are taking decent damage. They've got just the dresses on, you know, they've got the dress outfits on, so they've not got a load of defences. But then the rusty anchor boy's got some big fat armour on, so he's like a little bit more poisey, a little bit more tanky. This is just a really well thought out invasion. Fair play to these guys as well, you know, they didn't just go to the boss fog, which they could have done when I first spawned in. They could have just run up the steps and gone to the fight. They stayed around to have a nice little brawl with me. So you can see, you know, we are taking some damage. The Russians down. They're being very aggro. That's what this was what made this invasion quite hard. They were just super aggro on me. But they were taking good damage, especially to the 2 dressed in, you know, the feminine outfits with the dresses on. They were taking some good damage, man. So like, I was trying to just pick one of those off, but every time I got them low, got them close to death. One of them came and like backed the others up, you know. But I just managed to kill one. So at this point my heart was in my mouth. My hands were well and truly sweaty. And I was getting a little bit excited because this was a really good invasion. You can see I almost killed one. I just locked onto the wrong person then, the dress guy. Nearly killed the guy in the dress. But I just locked onto Fat Boy instead. And I just missed out on the kill. If I'd have done that differently, I could have killed the guy in the dress. But the fight is still going on. Nearly killed him again. You can see how close I've been now. I made a mistake here. Missed the rocks. Missed the rocks again. Go for a giant flame take the. Missed the incantation. And then we just get squashed. But what a fun invasion that was. I really wanted to show that one, guys, because although we lost, it was a great fight and we don't mind losing those whatsoever. Now this is the last invasion of the video, boys. The other guy was idle for a minute there, so I'll leave him to it. I did do a little bit of experimental punches on him. You can see he's not idle now. He's healed himself up, but we also just managed to kill the first guy. He stays stood still in the storm, and that's a done deal. And now it was just between me and this twin blade user, and I start having a little bit of fun with him. I start spamming the storm stomp a little bit, and I start having some fun with the Stone of Gurranq. As you'll see, Storm Stomp, Stone of Gurranq. Fancy that again? Storm Stomp, Stone of Gurranq. And then I think we get one more. Storm Stomp, Stone of Gurranq, baby. Yeah, but then we just have a normal one-on-one. And yeah, it's a good little fight, this one. But I'll let this play out, guys. This has been a really, really fun build. Great video to make. I've got another one in mind that I will be making a video on very shortly, so stay tuned for that. Enjoy the rest of this invasion. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all on the next one.